Hello, my Severance people. We got the full crew this week, and we are going to be diving into season 2, episode 8. And before we dive in, I do need to warn most of you have probably watched the episode. And if you didn't, this podcast will probably discuss what's in the episode, which unfortunately does delve into the topic of harmful substance abuse. So if that is something that you are not interested in, this is probably not the episode for you. I don't think we're going to say anything that crazy, but I do want everybody watching to know what is in this 37-minute, very short episode. But before we dive in, we have my good friends Andres and Melissa. And Melissa missed our twofer last week, covering episodes 6 and 7. So I'm going to pick on you, Melissa, and let us know what you thought of the 2 episodes. And I'll remind you, episode 6 was the one where Mark smacked his head at the end of the episode. And episode 7 was that wonderful, and very interesting episode all about Gemma. So what'd you think of those 2 episodes before we dive into the latest?
Yeah, you forced me to remember. I remember 7 was the Gem episode. 6, I need more of a reminder besides him smacking his head because I don't remember that.
He has intercourse with Helly.
Oh, shared vessels again?
Yeah.
Yes, and our boy got with his own wife and is cheating on himself.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that is why I probably gave that a 3.5 because some scandalous things happened. I was like, oh, okay, there's some things happening here. Hello, Martha. I don't know who you are, but you're a new name to me. What did I think? Okay, so yeah.
Oh, did she freeze?
She froze on my end too.
Well, we're never gonna find out what she thinks of those episodes.
And we're frozen.
Oh, you're back.
You're back.
Oh my god, my internet is being stupid. I'm so sorry.
No, it's not bad.
6, 3.5 because of what we just discussed. I feel like things happened, like things that are kind of exciting for television watching. Mm-hmm. And then 7, I had given a 3 initially because I loved how it was filmed. I realized whenever we saw the flashback scenes with Gemma, they used this grainy film filter, and I appreciated that. And I found out that the cinematographer of the show is the one who actually directed it. So I thought that was a nice little touch. I forgot her name. And there was more world building that we got to see. Now we know that there's multiple.
Definitely.
You can have multiple innies, and Gemma is essentially kind of being tortured though, because she has to be 6 different people and go through these things that people usually don't want to do, with the turbulence on the plane and freaking dental appointments and thank you notes. So there's definite world building. I think where the frustration lies with me is it's still the answer is not being answered, why they're doing these things yet. And we're already coming down to the count. It's what? There's 3 more episodes of this.
Yeah.
I feel we are getting world building. There's things there's things are happening, but it's still the why of it all is still not being answered. And I don't see anything wrong with giving me just a little bit more. I just want some more.
Interesting.
Melissa, were you emotionally touched at all?
Why are you laughing, Trev?
Because I didn't expect the question.
That's probably the way I said it.
I had a question in my head, but it
calling me a cold bitch.
I didn't say anything. I asked a question.
You don't mind. I didn't feel super emotional. I was more so in the mindset of appreciating the filmmaking aspect of the episode. Like I said, with the cinematography, and with the writing, with the world building. So I appreciated more than I loved this episode. That episode.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
My takeaway from that is I think probably Age and I both expected you to really like that episode because it did give you a lot of answers about what's going on with Gemma, but I see where you're coming from, that the answers created just new questions.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't mind it. I mean, Age and I had a good conversation last week about our theories, which I'm sure we'll get into at some point when it comes up. I think we both gave that episode really, really, really high scores.
Yeah, I think we'll have more to think about, especially given that this Cobell episode was kind of recontextualizes a lot of season one, a lot of what Cobell is doing. This and also, I almost want to call this is the cinematography episode. I looked at water so much, I felt like I was watching Titanic. It was just like whale sounds and waves, and
It was a new
was
setting for sure.
Yeah.
yes, it was setting the scene, but I
Salt's neck.
felt like I didn't need that.
Yeah. Do you guys want to get into like ratings for this one?
Let's do
Yeah.
I'm actually happy to start this one. It's the
Sure.
lowest rating I'll give an episode from the season. I'm giving it a 2.5, mostly because pacing. I think it was a valuable episode. I think it does recontextualize things in a valuable way, but I I don't know. This could have been intermixed with what else was going on, maybe, or maybe like
Mhm.
half of an episode. I wonder why they made it shorter. I think it does set us up for some really great stuff in the last two episodes, but for me, I don't think I'll come back to this episode. And I will popcorn it. You want to talk, so I'll popcorn it over to
I
Andres.
do. I feel like I want Melissa to go last because I'm gonna say, like, reiterate everything you said. I also gave it a 2.5. I also think it could have been a lot shorter, interwoven into another episode, perhaps. I guess I get that they really liked the character and the actress, and they thought this would be worth diving into. But something that I felt about it that I think like maybe it could be interesting to see like if this made Melissa like it more than we did. I felt like they gave us too much.
Oh,
I felt like they could have held a little bit back. I feel like I got too many details about her life where they could have just more so alluded to like some of the things they went into big detail on. I think the two things that we needed to know on some level, that we'll get into more detail, but like just the whole child labor thing is like a big detail that was important for us to find out. And then obviously at the end, the fact that she created the severance procedure. But
But
everything else, I think they could have done a little more subtle allusion to like her upbringing was very weird. But I
Mhm.
think we got almost everything there is to know about Harmony Cobell, which we'll get into it. But I feel like they gave me so many answers that by the time the big reveal came that she created the severance procedure, I was kind of like, this is just another, like, they're throwing too much at me, you know? But how did you feel about it, Melissa?
I don't feel like we got so many answers. I feel like we got some answers. And I remember when I watched it, I was like, whoa, it ended already? This is
Yeah.
so short. It was under 40 minutes. It was crazy. I think sometimes my issue with this show is the sequencing of the episodes. Like this felt like this could have been placed somewhere else. Like
Yeah.
maybe don't make this, what is this, the third to last episode, I think.
Mhm.
Why was this towards the end? Because it doesn't feel like this is something that's like ramping us up for like a good ending to a season, in my opinion. I gave it a 3 because I felt like, okay, you gave us more information and we were wondering where this character was because we haven't seen her in like 4 episodes, I think. We got some more information about her. I still think there's some mystery left to her because I mean, there's still some weird connection between her and Mark that we still don't know. Like she still has something. I'm not gonna forget the things that they dropped, the connections between them two. I think if it's like a mystery show and they want to drop things and maybe think some of us are gonna forget, but some of us are freaks and hyper fixated on stuff. So I am gonna remember that like there's a kind of connection between her and Mark. I'm not gonna forget that. So I better get
Yeah.
answers, and I expect to get answers at some point. Why is she so whatever about Mark? Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a pretty good point. I guess I didn't really make that connection. I think Mark is just generally special because of the Cold Harbor file and Gemma and all of those things. So
Mhm.
there's something special about Mark that we kind of understand is the case at this point.
Mhm.
But you're right, there could be something even more so. But I feel like we know way more than I ever really thought I needed to know about Harmony Cobell. I don't
I
know. Is
also
that just
want to
me?
touch on something Melissa said. You talked about the sequencing of the season. I have gone back and watched season 1 again. And
Mhm.
when I came to season 2, what I did was I finished season 1 with the last episode where Mark yells, "She's alive." I went to season 2, episode 2, which starts at that moment in the Audi world.
Yeah.
And then I went back to episode 1.
Uh-huh.
And then I went to episode 3, and kind of without the mystery box element of the show, it was still very enjoyable, and you may enjoy that. You personally, and also the audience as well.
Mhm.
I thought it was like a really good refresher. But yeah, sequencing wise, is this really a late season kind of episode? I suppose
Weird.
it has to happen when he's reintegrated. It can't
Yeah.
happen before that. Um, yeah, let's dive into what we actually saw. So Cobell has been driving for a couple episodes, to your point, and she goes to Salt's Neck. I love the names in this show. They are all so dark, so mysterious, so cold, and it seems to be. It was filmed in Newfoundland. It seems like
Oh yeah.
Newfoundland. Cold place, lots of
Yeah.
water, lots of
It looks
sadness.
miserable and terrible.
And I think I love that this show is kind of like what's on the outside seems to also be what's on the inside. Like the town looks run down, the people are gone, and the people who have stayed are abusing this ether, which is part of like the whole story of Lumen. You know, he met Emojine at the ether factory, which I've kind of been thinking about all season long. And then now they actually did dive into the anesthetizing kind of effect of it. And I also wonder, are they trying to equate Severance to substance abuse in general? I'm not sure. Did you guys get that?
I thought there was like a well, you bring up a good point of the the love story that we've heard about because in the recap I did watch, shout out Think Story, they brought up um like that love story, and then there was like kind of a line in a book that Irv was reading that was like what connected them was the spirit of industry. And when I read that, I was like, is the spirit of industry like the ether? Like they
The
just
fumes.
get really high and like, I don't know,
Surprisingly, the answer
do
seems to be
weird
yes.
stuff.
Yeah, it
Um,
seems to be yes.
yeah, I think ether is the spirit of industry. But I don't know. I mean, as I was watching like that whole town, I thought it was just like a reflection of like a lot of um, old factory towns where, you know, they used to be booming during different economic times when manufacturing was high. And then
Mhm.
now they're kind of hollowed out and everybody's on drugs. I didn't even make the connection before that like the ether was part of the factory. I thought it was just like poor, like old factory town. Now they're poor. Now they're on drugs. That totally just is aligned to me.
Mhm.
Hmm. Drugs are bad. Moving on.
Of course.
They
Yeah.
truly are.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that this episode's also kind of interesting in that it kind of reflects like what is Severance about? Severance seems to be about a lot of things. It seems to be about death, about grieving, but also about corporate culture and the things that we
Mhm.
deal with in capitalism. So this is kind of like what happens when capitalism destroys your town, destroys all of the people. So I feel like this episode is like a tiny little micro version of maybe what the whole show is trying to say. Like, but is
Well,
the whole show trying to say corporation bad?
no, I
Probably.
mean, I think on last week's episode, when we were touching on the Gemma thing, we did a good job, I feel like, of diving into, I think, the more interesting part of the show, which is like these questions of consciousness and trying to separate yourself from like suffering. And there is a lot of like
Oh yeah.
interesting stuff in that side of the show. I think that's actually the more interesting thing. But the side commentary, I do feel like is, you know, office culture, economics, that kind of stuff. But I don't want to lose sight of the consciousness aspect, even though this particular episode didn't really dive into that.
This episode had a lot of new characters. Basically, we have the what was it? The drippy pot, and what I'm going to call him the waiter, but I think he's the owner. who
Guy that she
Cobell?
kissed, right?
What's the yes,
Oh
that
yeah,
man.
that
The
guy.
man who said, "I hate you. I don't want to do anything for you, but also I'll drive you out, wait for you for like, I don't know, until the nighttime hours and then give you my truck."
They were lovers.
Oh.
Used to be
Yeah.
I don't think they were lovers. I think they were she
They
must have been
kissed on the
12 when
lips,
she
right?
left.
they
Did I
kissed
make that
on
up?
the lips. They were
They
smart.
did.
They
Uh,
used to be a thing.
no.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
Maybe
and
when
they
they were
they used
kids.
to they used to do ether when they were 8 years old.
Oh shoot, I forgot.
Um,
I missed that detail. Damn.
she
That's what
she
she
was like,
said.
"I haven't done this since I was 8," which is
She was probably very mature 8-year-old, to be fair.
well, they were
Child
like
labor.
working child labor.
Yeah.
Again, this is why I feel like
Mhm.
I just learned too much. You know, like they could have maybe alluded to some of this stuff, but I'm like, okay, like you did the child labor and you were on ether
What's wrong
and
with
the whole
answers?
stuff with your mom. Huh?
What's wrong with answers?
Because sometimes you leave something to the imagination, it's a little better, but I'm like, okay, like I'm learning stuff and then not all of it really hits. Some of it's like a little underwhelming. Why did you guys switch?
She did that. She did it.
You messing with me?
She wants to be at the bottom.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I don't know. I
I was
feel
just
like
pushing buttons.
the more answers you're throwing at me, the more you're risking like is all of this going to hit? And like at some point I was like kind of numb to like learning about her childhood. Like when honestly, I mean, when I found out she hadn't done either since she was 8, I was like, you know.
That's interesting because I feel like she's kind of interesting because she seems to be like pro Lumen, but sometimes she seems really pissed at them. And I guess in this episode, you figure out why she might be pissed because she supposedly invented Severance, which I have questions
Yeah.
about. Did she really? Because her aunt, I think who's her aunt, says no, James Egan did. I don't know if we're
Well,
supposed to interpret no, Cobell actually did invent Severance.
yeah, my interpretation is like she invented it, but her aunt is like still 100% like in the cult and they, you know, like Cobell mentions that like the reason she didn't take credit for it is because like everything is all works or like for Kier or something. I forget the
It's all
exact
all
line.
knowledge belongs to Lumen or something like that. But
That's
Yeah.
real from corporations, though. If you have an idea when you work somewhere, it belongs to the company.
Sometimes you should know your rights. You should know your intellectual property laws.
well,
Be careful
here's
what you
a
sign.
I remember that was a thing at the place that we used to all work at because that was part of the training process. If you do something here, it belongs to this place.
There was another podcast I was listening to this week. It was called the Something Stupid podcast. Like, it's not stupid at all. It's actually really good. I will double check on the name, but they were saying that they realized during this episode that it was very mindful and purposeful that Cobell's character was played by a woman because of women throughout history. It wasn't International Women's Day like yesterday. Women throughout history being inventors, being writers, and never being credited, and their work being stolen. So I did have that kind of as a little point in my head that I do believe that she invented Severance by herself. I do believe that James just straight up stole everything and just had the company money to make it happen. I even, and this is just me thinking, but like they're at an ether factory, it's anethicizing. There was a part in episode 6 where Ragabi said, let's flood the chip. And I wonder, does the chip have ether in it? Is that the technology? It seems like there's like a little something inside. I'm gonna go back and screen cap like the pictures of her notebook, but I have no doubts in my mind that she invented Severance all by herself. I do
Okay.
not have a single doubt.
You guys have convinced me, I believe.
Oh, yay! I wasn't trying,
Yeah.
but I'm happy.
Also, it just kind of makes sense for the plot and what happened last week with Mark and his sister trying to call because he's having issues with reintegration. She doesn't know who else to call besides Harmony. And now this week we're finding out it's like a good decision, I guess. Which last week,
That's a
Age and I
surprise to me.
we're like, nah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Sure, that's the best decision.
I thought she was totally Lumen, like for Lumen. She was gonna not be their friend, but
And
also someone in the
She
she's
still might be,
complex.
but
Exactly. Like it's like
yeah.
sometimes she is, other times she's not. It's like she's pissed at them, but she's like for Kier, and it's like she's so lumen. So I think she's still an interesting character because of that. Because you don't really know. Like maybe at the end she could be the hero, or maybe she's the villain.
Yeah. Ultimately, like we don't know what she'll do
Mhm.
like to Mark after she helps him with this issue with the chip in his head. But we
because we
do
don't
kind of know at this point, like, okay, she can probably
Help
fix
him.
it.
Because we still don't know what they're going to do to Gemma, that she's going to go away. We don't know what they're going to do. So Cobell might still do it. Also, I do see someone in the comments just mentioning that they used to love Sailor Moon. Hi, if you didn't know, Sailor Tortilla is usually a Sailor Moon only channel. So for 2 seconds, I'm going to show you a box of
Sure.
almonds. It's a box of almonds with Sailor Moon on it. Can you believe they actually made this? Okay, back to the show.
Is the
Watch my other
almond,
videos though.
is almond the shape of Sailor Moon, or is it just an almond shaped almond?
It's just an almond covered in chocolate. They made a macadamia version. They made a pistachio version. I forgot what the other one was, but I have a couple boxes on the way. I've been eating this delicious Japanese chocolate for like 2 weeks. Also, I see my friend Gio in
Also,
the chat. Hi, I did not know that you like Severance. I've been
not the
obsessed with it. I need Gemma to escape already. Yes, sir, we do need Gemma to escape already. Also, since Gio's here, this is really fun for me. I really love Sailor Moon. Sorry, guys. Andres, Melissa, please hold. Look, this is part of my display. Gio in the chat literally made this pin. Like he
talented.
sells this pin. It's
Good job, Gio.
incredible, amazing.
Where
Such a
can people
classic
buy
moment.
it?
I know. So Gio's treasures. Let me put this back here.
Gio, share your link, and I'm sure
Drop
Age will
the
put it
link
up.
Chat, Geo.
I can't
Um,
not show that chocolate box. All right, back to the
this is a good
show.
episode for engagement from Sailor Moon Severance crossover. We finally hit it. It only took 8 episodes
Yeah.
of the show, but
Who
we finally
transformed in
found
Severance?
the Venn diagram.
I'm gonna try to think of connections between Sailor Moon and Severance for like the rest of this podcast. But yo, Harmony's aunt sucks. I do not like
Yeah.
Sissy. She can go.
She's a believer, right? She's just
Yeah.
like all about Egan.
But also, why would you hand your very important papers to the lady in front of the fire? Why? I think I know the answer.
Oh yeah.
But I'll let you guys respond first.
I don't recall that detail. I'm so sorry. Is that what?
At the end, her aunt tries to throw stuff in the proof that Harmony created the severance procedure.
Oh,
Those papers they fight over them like right in front of the fire.
does
I
she
thought the
throw it
house
in,
was going to catch fire.
does she throw it in the fire? I forgot.
She tried.
No.
She tried. Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
she escapes with the papers.
Man,
I don't know what she's going to do with those papers, though. Who is she going to show?
the media.
But would they believe her?
We don't know anything about the media in this world. I'd
They-
have to assume that they are owned by
Here.
Lumen.
Yeah.
They're probably owned by Lumen for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, it's a drug company.
Dictatorship.
They do
What?
advertising.
It's a dictatorship.
Listen, that Egan family has their fingers in everything. I'm pretty sure they control like fertility clinics, hospitals, entire towns. They've got to have people in the media. Like I feel like Natalie is probably that person. Natalie seems to be maybe like the PR person. Also, speaking of Natalie, I love Natalie every time she shows up. I feel like I'm watching an
She's
anime.
a character. I can't wait till we eventually
She's
get some-
wonderful.
Yeah. She's great.
But we were watching and like, I don't know why. It's in the middle of the Cobell episode, and my husband's like, what if she's the board? Like they're in her head.
I mean,
Like they're all putting themselves inside of Natalie. All the Egans together.
I wouldn't count it out. This show's crazy.
It could be right. It could be. It could totally be a thing. This is an interesting universe where like the pseudoscience is so flexible in that we're not like limited by like what is the real technology. We're just limited by like our own thoughts. I think the question behind the show is overall like, who are you? Who is the you are? And also, are you torturing yourself? because that's what I always go back to.
Are you willing
But
to have your memories manipulated and erased? That's the question that I think of, that I'm like, no, I
Yeah.
wouldn't do Severance. This is fucking up my memories. I'm two separate people. No.
Think about the people in Salt Neck, though. They were child laborers. Their town was destroyed. They've been left in an environment that they're escaping through substance abuse. Those are the people. Like Harmony herself lost her mother without being there. We found out in the episode that it was like apparently a self exit, but Harmony is the type of person who would sever themselves. She invented the whole concept. So like
Yeah,
there's people
makes
out there.
sense.
There's people who would do it. Like would you
Yeah.
guys do Severance?
I just
No.
said no, because it messes with your memories. It's scary to me. I don't like the memory messing thing.
It
But if you
ain't
didn't know.
natural.
But
It
if you
ain't
didn't know, like, you're being
natural.
tortured.
If I did it,
That's part of what they're trying to figure out with Gemma,
like,
right? Like, does it cross over if you are torturing someone? Does that stay in the body, in the soul, whatever?
Apparently not.
Which I mean, from what I know about like psychology, I do believe it does, but
I think at the very least, I would know if I didn't read the fine print, and if I was doing it to have a work-life balance, I would know that, like, okay, I'm only gonna have my work life and then only know my work stuff, but then I'm gonna have my life where I only know my life things. Like, I would know that detail at least, and then I would be like, I don't think so. Because then I'm not gonna remember what I did at work, and then my work stuff won't remember anything from my life. That's scary.
I mean, I feel like the show is doing a pretty good job of making the case that it is like kind of immoral and outside the natural order to like kind of try to escape suffering in this weird way of messing with your consciousness. And I mean, look, as we have this conversation, I realize, and maybe I've thought of this before, but this is kind of just basically Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless
I
Mind.
haven't seen that movie. Isn't that cray cray? I haven't seen
It's
it.
an outstanding movie. Yeah, and
Really good.
it makes this case in a more succinct way.
Okay.
I think that
haven't
one of the folders, one of the rooms is named after something in Eternal Sunshine, but I can't remember
That
what
makes
it
sense.
is.
It's good. They should acknowledge that.
This is also the name of Ariana Grande's latest album, just so you know.
Eternal
What is
Sunshine
it?
of the Spotless Mind.
It's called Eternal Sunshine because she has a song in that album where she's thinking how she wishes she could just forget the person ever happened.
Well, I mean, I guess
Yeah.
it's cool that
Oof.
she likes that movie.
I guess this whole show is about escaping suffering. You cannot live without escaping suffering. Isn't that what Ivan Illich was? Melissa, last week we had a conversation about Ivan Illich.
Oh yeah, I realized I have the book like right here.
I thought it was a short story. It's a book.
Well, it's a short story, and it's in here.
It's in a book, but it's a short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So luckily, I had actually read that book, and it is about a guy who lives a pretty normal life, is concerned with like normal day-to-day things like decorating his apartment and things like that. And then all of a sudden he falls, he hits his kidney, he thinks it's just like a normal thing. And then he goes to the doctor, he realizes he's not got long to live. And it's about the however long he spends, days, weeks, I don't know how long it was, just dying, and the suffering he goes through, and kind of the acceptance he finally finds before he actually passes away. And it is kind of about facing suffering head on and understanding the challenges of life and what's really important. And I do think that's what Severance is about. And I think Melissa, just to catch you up, we kind of believe that that last step that they want Gemma for, that Cold Harbor, which is like where she passed away supposedly in a cold harbor, is something about escaping death in some way. Because I just kind of made that connection last week after thinking of why they keep bringing up that story. It is about the suffering of death, which is like the ultimate suffering that they could want somebody to try to escape. So I do think that's where the show is going.
I think they're going to kill Gemma or goats. Lots of goats.
Yeah, I guess cloning could come into play too. Like, I don't know. I just saw that movie Mickey 17. Not very good, but they keep making clones of him,
Mhm.
and he kind of escapes death in a way. But with the severance procedure, you could actually not experience death. And if they make a clone of you, it's like you just keep living without any suffering.
I like my Severance without cloning.
Yeah,
I know it's
but
come up a lot.
the
Yeah.
Like,
goats,
you're not the only one,
because
like, it comes up.
they
Yeah.
clone sheep, so I guess people make that connection with like the
Oh,
goats. Like
yeah.
maybe they're
I
cloning
haven't
goats.
I haven't dived deep to see people's reasoning for that theory, but I have seen comments about the cloning theory as well.
Yeah, I think it was specific to Gemma.
Mm.
And also, I always come back to this every couple episodes, you guys, but like her body was burned. Why was she burned if she fell into a cold harbor?
I think it was burned, okay? Like, we have yet to see this scene. It's a story they keep telling us. We don't really know the truth.
I have to go back and rewatch that scene to see, like, did he actually say he saw her burned, or was he like making some kind of point? I know he was making a point about like if your husband died, blah blah blah.
And you
So
had to identify his burned body. That's what he said.
yeah, yeah. So I wonder. We should go back and rewatch it and
Can
figure
they
out what the heck
can
actually
Lumen
happened.
plant memories?
That's my question. I think there
That's a good
is an
question.
implication that they can.
Okay.
And I don't remember why I think that, but I do think that.
If she was burned, it's either they have some really good plastic surgery up in Lumen, or she really wasn't burned. And
I don't think she even had a car crash. I think it was all staged by Lumen. I think they did it to like what is keep
Why
happening?
not?
keep
They
pressing.
clearly have some kind of rotational setting on.
I'm
And
gonna
now
just do it
Melissa's in the
again.
host position.
Oh.
Oh.
Doesn't know the settings.
Good morning. Where are you writing from?
Oh, that's our
Sir or
friend who's
madam?
using a translator. They've been here before. Hello, friend. Thank you to all of you who have been watching. Also, like a great big thank you to all of you Sailor Moon fans who come every week for Severance and have been bearing with me. I do love a lot of different media from Sailor Moon. I'm not stopping Sailor Moon videos. I just like a lot of other really, really good things because Sailor Moon has no new content. And Sailor Moon Cosmos was not that good. More to come later.
Controversy.
Yeah, sorry. We were on a whole thing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We're talking about cloning theories.
Yeah.
Really
Cold
died.
Harbor.
Mm-hmm.
Do you
Yeah,
think we're gonna see
Gemma
it?
could possibly be a clone, and they might be
I don't think so, though.
trying
I really
to
don't.
print her like Mickey so she
Keep
can
going
escape
back
death.
to Mickey.
Well, there is a correlation, unfortunately.
There definitely is with cheating death in a way, making
Yeah.
prints of yourself. Yeah.
Potentially. I mean, we haven't gotten to that in Severance, but I do think they're setting it up.
I think that they're gonna implant memories at some point. I really do. I
mean,
wish I
I
knew
feel
why I thought that.
that's to
Huh?
Mark. I feel like they probably did that to Mark. I'm choosing to believe that she actually never got into a car accident. They told him that, or they planted that memory of seeing her body, but like, because in that last
No,
episode,
he wasn't severed then, though.
Oh yeah, true. But I guess
well,
you could
maybe they can
plant the
plant
memory in
it, but they're
afterwards.
not severed.
But his sister remembers it too.
They fucked her brain too.
Maybe she got the procedure and she doesn't even remember it because they made her not.
Memory is a big theme in this show, in my
It
opinion.
is. It
So,
is.
Are you
100%.
your
Yeah.
memories? Are
yeah,
you
Yeah.
you without your memories?
reminds me of Coco. Very big on memory. That's the theme in that movie.
Ah, yeah, that
Coco.
was a good movie.
Coco! Oh my god, Disney Pixar's Coco. What a good movie.
I only
Yeah.
see it once because it's so sad.
Might have been like the last good Pixar movie.
Well, didn't you like
Inside Out too? Yeah, Inside
Yeah, I was
Inside
like,
Out
you
too.
Inside Out.
But then before that, they had a big dry spell, in my opinion.
Mhm.
I mean, I guess they're not. I'm not the demographic, right?
Yeah. Well, I
They're
think
for
more
children.
family.
But yeah, they used to be crossover hits.
Mhm. Yeah.
Neither here nor there.
I guess we need to touch on Cobel's childhood. I'm trying to clearly the three of us don't want to talk about anything we learned about Cobel. And I understand that because it's just like, okay, you went to school, they sent you to the Lumen school. Now we know what that wintertide thing is. So like maybe Miss Wong has like a science, I want to say science experiment, but that's not really giving the full credit to what I think she may be working on. Lumen is a tech company. If you're doing some kind of school internship, special academy for Lumen, you're probably a scientist. I think that's what we learned watching Cobell. Um, and Cobell's aunt didn't think it was worth. Well, hold on, wait. There's a lot of discussions online about why or how much of an issue it is that Cobell wasn't there when her mother died. I think we were all under the assumption that her mother was slowly passing away and probably reached that point that she wasn't going to come back. But Sissy tells us in this episode that the mother self-exited. She removed her own breathing tube. So I think.
Well, she gives 2 different versions, to be fair. She does
Does
say,
she?
like yeah, at first she's like, "I did it because she was suffering."
Mm.
And then later on, she comes on and says she did it herself. So, I mean, it could be like she's revealing the truth is the second thing she told her, but it could also just be we don't know what to believe.
Yeah.
I don't believe that Sissy lady.
And that she was full of malice.
Yeah, they kept talking about the I don't know what they're called.
4 tempers.
Yeah, because I heard a lot about woes. You bring so much woe, and then it's like malice. I heard. Pay attention.
Yeah.
They did have the 4 paper mache heads in the room of those. Yeah, the tempers. I think Malice is the goat. Woe is that drowned woman. I don't know. There's a lot of interesting little like paper mache art pieces all around the show, especially at Cobell's house.
What is she looking for again?
She's looking for, well, her little trophy that has the papers inside of it.
Her head. The
No,
Egan head.
it is the head. Yeah.
They had like the blueprints in them. Is that why? Like she needs proof? Okay.
Yeah, that's her proof.
Okay.
But I don't know what she's going to do with them.
I don't know. Like, do they not know those? Like, does Lumen not know those blueprints already exist?
She'll start by saving Mark.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hold on. Actually, I think Melissa, you bring up something good. I don't think that they think that those blueprints exist. I think that they think they have all the copies of them from 20 years ago when they probably invented this.
Okay, plot thickens.
I guess it's interesting that, like, I mean, I guess it's proof, right?
Yeah.
Just carbon date the paper. Is that gonna be accurate to show that she came up with it?
So what I know about carbon dating is you can't carbon date things under a certain amount of years. So if it's too young, you can't carbon date.
Like I'm just trying to figure out why that's any definitive proof.
That was my question as well.
Yeah.
Like, who is she going to show this to convince them of?
It's nice and old enough, right?
I mean, I have like papers from my childhood, like literally sitting around here, and they look like they were drawn by a child yesterday. One sec.
Maybe
that's good paper.
It's not as close as I thought.
That's good quality paper.
It's just paper. Just paper.
Maybe they're timestamped and stuff. Like her papers are.
Let's just.
You could
I don't know.
write that. You could write whatever you want. So I don't know what she's going to do with those papers unless she's like.
I wrote the date right up here.
Evidently, she feels confident enough that it'll be enough. So I'm just saying, maybe something on there.
What I also think is interesting is that she brings up like, I invented the Glasgow block. Like, why is the Glasgow block? Like, why is that so important? Like, I understand it's like turning it off, right? Like turning it off has got to be super important.
Basically, she came up with all of it, and she wanted us, the audience, to know.
No.
See, it's like there's so much like just revelation in this. Like, I don't know.
37
minutes. By the time we found out she came up with the severance procedure, I was like, of course she did. What didn't happen to Harmony Cobell?
You were not.
Really? You were upset? Sorry, Melissa, I cut you off.
It's never something like, I never thought to myself, I wonder who invented Severance. I guess maybe I just went along with like, oh, it's like a Lumen thing, and maybe I guess the Egan family. So
yeah, I never questioned it either. I mean,
yeah, it didn't come off as like some like huge revelation to me. Well, because like again, like I was even wondering, is she even telling the truth? I don't know, because her aunt is like, girl, you didn't.
I mean, but why would she have those papers?
No,
It was
no.
definitely
I mean,
her.
now
She's
after our
sold now. Yeah.
yeah, after our conversation, I believe she invented it. I don't know. I guess, but I do feel like it's one of those things where they give us pieces of information for like character context that maybe we may not even see it pay off until like maybe season 3. You know?
Yeah.
Oh God. How
Yeah,
many years until season 3?
exactly.
I guess on the child labor thing, that was important to note because it kind of answered like the Miss Swan
It made me
dilemma.
her. I was like, man, she's kind of born into this. Poor, she's a child slave.
Yeah, but she kind of seems like she's loving it in a way.
Because she knows nothing different, Andres.
Well, you can know nothing different and still hate your life. She's having
It
a
makes
good time. She's playing the instrument,
me feel
but
normal.
I think also I want to say that Milchek is probably born into it as well.
I think Age said that a few episodes ago that she thinks he was probably a child Lumen person himself. I remember.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yes, I do believe that Milchik was probably raised in the Lumen whatever. Anyway, this is 30 years old. It's by
Oh, wow.
Kate.
Okay.
It's
Kate?
Suzette, the guinea pig. It was my kindergarten class's guinea
Friend?
pig.
She went to go find her proof.
Wait, did you make that or did Kate make
No,
that?
Kate by Kate. But on the
Are you
inside
still
is a
friends with
letter.
Kate?
What,
Why do
listen,
you have drawing?
Yeah.
because I say me, my mom donated this guinea pig to my class. So
Oh.
inside it says, "Dear, my name," and Mr. and Mrs., my last name. Thank you so much for letting Suzette become our classroom pet, among other things. And it's, I wish, okay, there, I've covered, these are children who have put their names on this literally 30 years ago. I am 36 years old. This is from my kindergarten. So like, this looks like a kid just did it. I don't know what Cobell's going to do with her papers. Sorry, that was
Shout out Kate and the kindergarten class of 1994.
my question is which Kate? I'm pretty sure we had like Kate B and Kate H, just like Severance.
Whichever Kate.
Whatever. I don't know. Sorry. I'll let this go about what is Cobell doing with the papers. I suspect there's some secret Severance thing we don't know about in those papers that may be part of the chips. And she like maybe needs the schematics to reintegrate Mark, maybe. She has Petey's chip. I think Petey's chip is going to come into this later because he was reintegrated. He was actually reintegrated. Now that we know she's the inventor, I now understand why she kept Petey's chip. I thought it was because his soul was inside. That's not it. I think she's going to help Mark specifically.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's
she didn't know
definitely
that
gonna.
before she went, though.
No, I
Never
think she was
mind.
getting the papers to be like. Well, it kind of seems like Lumen. Last time we saw her with Lumen, seemed like maybe they were gonna try to kill her or banish her or do something. Maybe erase her memories if that's a thing they do. So I think she went there to get her papers to be like, this is my proof, and I'm running away
Yeah,
from
but to
Lumen with
who?
my proof. I don't know. She must know better than anybody who Lumen is not connected to, who she can go to. Like she knows everything there is to know about Lumen, in my opinion. Like from what I've seen. So she might know who she can go to with those papers that could help her out. And I think that's more along the reason she went there in the first place. But in terms of plot, it's all very convenient timing for Mark right now.
It really, really is. Do you think Irving was talking to Cobell this whole time on the phone?
I have no idea who he was talking to be
Could
honest.
be. I don't know. I don't know. Like, was Cobell like? It seems like she was all in on Lumen before they fired her. You know,
Yeah.
so could be somebody else. By the way, I want to point out we have officially talked about this episode longer than the episode itself.
We have. Look at you looking at the details.
Content. Is it good? I don't know. But we did it.
thing. This has nothing to do with the current episode, but that's another thing that I was disappointed in. I just wish the reintegration thing was happening a little quicker.
I think you
Yeah,
said that before.
I think after episode 3 or 4, no, it was episode 4 maybe?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was
Wherever, like,
4.
the cliffhanger was that he was going to be reintegrated, I think we all expected the next episode to have, like, some
Him waking up on
big
the
stuff
desk.
happen. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Like, we thought it was all gonna happen all at once, but now it's looking more like we'll be lucky to get some solid reintegration in the season finale.
I actually don't think we're going to see that scene. I think that was all we got because we kind of know the rest of it.
I mean, last season they did a good job of like giving us what we wanted out of that season while setting up a third one. So I think we're gonna see some good reintegration in episode 10, but it's just gonna lead to more questions, which is
What
what
could
frustrates
be
Melissa.
the ending of this? Like, I think we're going to see Cold Harbor this season.
I
I think
hope
it's going
so.
to be a big deal. I hope
Yeah,
so.
could be.
You don't think so?
Could be. I think we'll learn something about Cold Harbor because that file is so close to completed, right? It's like 90
Yeah, like
done or
96.
something.
Yeah.
So it seems like that's one thing they're setting up for a potential season finale, and I think Mark's reintegration is another thing.
I think they're going to wipe Mark's memory of Gemma altogether.
Well, they kind of did that with his innie, which was like so cruel. And his, I guess, some way in his with his Audi, but the Audi thinks she's dead.
That's the thing. What stops them from going after the memories of the Audi? If we know that there can be so many innies, like your Audi could just be another innie. I don't know. Got to think about it. Got to watch more. I didn't like this episode.
Like the last episode, sorry, because I wasn't here last week. The last episode, I was like, why isn't she trying harder to get out? Like Gemma,
Well, she does
Because she
escape.
she got out, but then
She
Miss
went
Casey brought her back in.
Milkshake tells
Yeah.
her, girl, go back, and then she listens to him.
Well, because she's just Miss Casey, and she thinks she stumbled onto the wrong elevator, and she is kind of like suspicious. But what? She doesn't really have a choice. She does not know why she's there.
I think she hits the dental guy though. She was like getting more aggressive and more. I was like, yeah, girl, you
But that
fight
was
your way
Gemma.
through.
Yes, but remember, she
Gemma.
turns into Miss Casey when she's on the other
When she's
floor.
in the dark hallway.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's the key, is that she is Gemma. She's escaping. She gets onto the elevator, and then she's just on the severed floor where she becomes Miss Casey.
Terrible.
I know.
It's very sad. That was heartbreaking. That
Yeah.
was so hard to watch.
Yeah.
So good though. I
It was
love
tough.
it when
Yeah,
TV shows
it's
give
a
me
very
pain.
good scheme.
That
Yeah.
is evil.
Yeah.
Mhm. You know, I was watching season 1 again, and everyone was so docile. They were like happy to do their job, happy to get a little picture on their desk.
Very proud of doing his work with the finger traps as prizes. Yeah, I remember.
Everything has fallen apart. Everything has fallen
Yeah.
apart. No one trusts
And
anything.
hey, the irony is it's Petey on the outside, but on the inside, it's all Helly R's fault. Right?
He incite this again. I forgot.
Because she's like trying to kill herself, trying to do this, trying to do that, and then her Audi is just like,
You're not a person.
I will, yeah, like,
Yeah.
yeah, basically.
Yeah,
and
it's
then
true.
That kind of, I mean, there's also Dylan with the whole overtime contingency things. Like stuff starts to add up, but the instigator on the inside is Helly, and the irony of it, obviously, is that she is
She's
Kier.
an Egan.
She's a fetid moppet. Well, I'm excited for the next episode. I thought that I like knowing that she made Severance, but I don't really care.
Could have been an email.
No, it could have just been like part of another episode, not the Gemma episode.
Or like
That episode is complete.
Place it not as a third to last, but like somewhere else in the season.
And also, like, none of this is to say, like, Patricia Arquette did an incredible job. The acting in this episode is so good. Like, even the part where she puts the tube in her mouth and makes, like, a wailing sound, like, that felt real. The acting was great. I don't even have an issue with, like, any of those new characters, the town people, Sissy. Like, everybody did a great job. I just don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take me to the office.
I mean, yeah, I had to like ground myself and be like, okay, the fact that she made Severance is a big deal. Like after this episode, because I was like, this episode, but I was like, okay,
There's
it's
just a
just
lot of water. Just
her
water.
making the Severance procedure, I think, is a good reveal. It just I didn't need 37 minutes to get there, but
It was short, but yeah.
It would have been bad if they just dropped it on us, though. I think there needed to be like whatever was in this episode, cut out all the close-ups of water, and just have Cobell do half an. I don't know.
So many overhead shots. Sometimes I was confused. I was like, is that? Oh, that's ice. I didn't realize that.
What did you think it was?
I don't remember. I think maybe, I don't know
Salt?
what it was. I don't
Oh.
remember.
I think this could have been 15 or 20 minutes pieced into another episode. Instead, it was just 37 minutes of like Miss Cobell's life.
That's more evidence of them drawing shit out. Just saying.
Perhaps.
Yeah, maybe they should have done 9 episodes again this season.
But perhaps we're missing something. Maybe the point of the episode was to show that, like, she goes home, she feels grief for her mother, she regresses in some way. She clearly looks at Sissy like, please validate me and my intelligence. It's like she becomes a little girl again in this episode. Like, maybe we just don't. Not that it went over our heads. I think we all kind of got it. We saw what happened, but like maybe that was the point, and that's not enough of entertainment for me.
Yeah,
in
I
this
feel like
particular show.
I want to say that the vibe I was getting was like they really love the Cobell character. They really love Patricia Arquette, and they wanted like an episode just really diving in, and I don't know, didn't work for everybody.
Yeah, I stand by. I think it might have a bigger payoff, like in a future episode, probably.
Maybe. I mean, it's going to have a payoff right now because of Mark, but then something else will come up after that, I'm sure.
Also, I thought she was going to freak out more hearing that he was reintegrated. Like, I thought it was going to be a big deal, and she was just like, ah, shit.
Yeah, Ragabi.
Ragabi. Getcha. I think Ragabi is also reintegrated, by the way. I don't know if I brought that up before.
I don't know if she was ever severed.
That's a good point, too. I don't know. I don't know anything. All I know is that Dylan's wife is cheating on Dylan with Dylan.
God,
I keep thinking about it. That's it. So as we're winding down, I think we can call it a day to this wonderful weekly episode of a weekly show that is definitely weekly, and we definitely don't miss weeks. There's only 2 episodes left, so I don't think. Oh, also, Melissa did miss the last episode because of the Oscars. Was it worth it? Did your winners win?
Well, it was worth it because I made it. Remember, I made it a social gathering where I had a ballot
games.
It was Battle of the Ballots. So we filled in our ballots as the show was going, and I was very strict on my rules because my cousin was trying to cheat. And I was like, follow my rules. It's my house. And then I also made like a prize. So like the winner got to win the prizes. And
cool.
It was very loud and chaotic because I got mad at certain parts, but it was a lot of fun.
You got mad at certain parts. Was it like an unpredictable? I feel like from what I saw, though, just the best actress was like a little, like maybe people thought to me more, but it was always between those two.
I got really angry. I walked up, ran to my hallway,
instead of Demi.
Slammed the door.
Girl from Honora. It kind of like, I feel like if you're just like looking at just the performances, I understand why the Girl from Honora won. It's just like the moment felt like Demi Moore's moment, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
A way better story. Like she waited so many years to even get nominated, and it's exactly. Like I don't know. I'm not gonna say she'll never get nominated again because I don't know that, but it's like I don't know if she will. Meanwhile, I'm pretty sure now Mikey Madison's her agent's phone is probably going off and has to disconnect because she's getting calls up the wazoo because she will get like so many more opportunities. She's 25, so
she's a great actor too.
She's good, and you know what? Yeah. I like Denora, but I stand by. I do not get the hype. I don't understand it. I thought it was good. It was fine. I probably would watch it again, but there's no way.
I like it. I mean, I think the Oscars have been a little like stupid lately in terms of
Christine.
I feel like sometimes I see these Best Picture winners, and I'm like, are they really movies that we're going to be talking about in 10 or 20
That's
years?
a fair question.
Oppenheimer, I do feel like that is a big American story, 3 hour. Chris Nolan, that movie people will be talking, but everything else that's
Mhm.
won in like the last, I don't know, 15 years, like what's
I saw somebody say the same argument because they were like, people are going to be really talking about the substance or a norm, but people will be talking about, for example, Wicked in like 10 years. And I was like,
I agree. Wicked and Dune 2 kind of felt
this is
like,
a
I
fair
mean, I
question.
don't think Wicked was the best. I think Dune 2 was, but
Mhm.
it's just like people are making really big movies that a lot of people are seeing that are also really, really well done.
Mhm.
And it's like they keep giving it to like these kind of more indie
Indie
movies.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like,
yeah,
really?
yeah.
No.
Yeah, I did a watch along with some friends and my cousin, but it was for the camaraderie of it, and like just for the fun of it. And it was a good time.
Oh, well, I'm glad you had fun. I think we had a really good discussion, and we'll have a really great discussion next week when we come back for Severance Season 2, Episode 9. And we're on a wiggle until I hit the end stream button. Also, to everyone watching, sometimes I hit that button twice and it starts the stream again. So if it happens, don't come back. It's not on purpose.
Leave.